Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Today we are going to be looking at Warhammer 40,000 Conquest issue 39. For those of you who don't know, Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine is a Partworks magazine from Games Workshop and Hachette Publishing. It comes out every week, priced at $7.99, and subscribers like myself receive one bundle of 4 issues once a month. This is the first issue from my current bundle. And anybody who watches the channel will know that along with this bundle there was a book, a Silver Templar source book, which I've previously done a video on, and unfortunately I had to be a little bit negative in that video. I don't like being negative. When I can help it, I will pick out faults and flaws and things that I think can be improved with the product, but generally I like to keep things upbeat, and I had to be a little bit negative about that book because I didn't think it was very good value at all. Fortunately, the magazines look to be much better value in terms of the products on the cover. I haven't actually looked inside the magazines yet to see whether the interior contents match up, but that's what we're going to do now. We're going to take a first look together. First of all, issue 39 comes with a miniature. It comes with a Primaris captain. Let's take a look at the sprue. Here it is. So this is it's a multi-part kit, but it is a monopose kit. It goes together one way, but there are options. For example, we have an option for helmet or an option for no helmet. Furthermore, there is an option for arming the captain with a power sword or having him pointing in a sally forth and go and kill the heretics, fellas. And looks like we also have weapon options. Do we have weapon options? Yes, we do. So we've got a main bolter frame, and then we have 2 options. We've got like an ammo canister to make like an assault bolter. I can't think what they're called off the top of my head. Or you can give it a scope and things and make it a stalker and pattern bolter. What is it called? We'll have, when we look in the magazine, we'll double check what it's called. But yeah, you can give it an ammo canister for rapid fire. So yeah, there's a few options. We have one molded shoulder pad, one shoulder pad for a transfer. Lovely detail as always. A couple of fiddly bits, and worth noting, of course, that this is not an easy build miniature. This is one that requires glue to go together. But a very nice miniature. And of course, as well as being an excellent miniature, that is actually excellent value. Because, as I mentioned, Warhammer 40,000 Conquest retails at $7.99 an issue. And this Primaris Captain actually retails full price from Games Workshop, £22.50. Obviously, you might be able to get it cheaper online with online discounts and things like that. But generally, you're looking at, if you were to walk into a Warhammer store today, you'd pay £22.50 for this miniature. So that's a pretty big saving. That's a saving of £14.51. So a saving of £14.51 on the miniature alone, before we start looking at what the magazine brings to the table as well, which we're going to have a look at now. So, as with all of these magazines, we start with some fluff. We get beautiful artwork, and then we get various different types of fluff. It might cover the history of certain battles, timelines, characters, like Captain Sicarius here. I'm going to get a look at his weaponry and his equipment. And then here we have Roticus Rainfather, a happy looking chappy with deeply disturbing artwork. Some more stuff about Roticus and his gnarl rod. And then we have some history of the entire universe and everything. It's the ages of mankind. I find a lot of this it's interesting because Games Workshop do such fantastic world building. They really do flesh out their universe, which is excellent. But it can be a little bit dry just to sit and read through the timelines and things. Well, that's how I feel anyway. But yeah, it's all good stuff. And what's really good about having that much lore behind a game is it's just fuel for the imagination for creating narrative scenarios, campaigns, things like that. What if situations, pitched battles between known forces. It's just so many things you can do when you've got this much lore, and it's the thing that Games Workshop sort of has over most other tabletop games. It's such a rich and interesting lore. And this magazine does a pretty good job of fleshing out different aspects of it. It doesn't just focus on Ultramarines and Death Guard, even though those are the two forces that you can collect when you subscribe to this magazine. Those are the miniatures that come with it. It does actually go a little bit wider than that and look at other factions and other historical events. So there we go. That's the end of our fluff section, and now we're into the building section. The building section is basically the instructions that you would get if you were to purchase the miniature. Yellow bits indicate where glue goes, little blowouts so you can see exactly how it goes. When you're constructing Games Workshop miniatures, you should do the pieces in number order, so you put piece 1 to piece 2 before you worry about assembling it all together over here. So do your little sub-assemblies, then stick it all together. And over the page we should get talk of our options. Right, so there we go. You can have the Stalker bolt rifle, like I said, or it's just called an auto bolt rifle. And that's achieved by just swapping out that central section, either having the ammo canister or the scope. And of course, we have the option of bare head or helmeted head, power sword or pointy hand. At the end of it, you get a pretty awesome miniature. It's a really cool miniature. Very much like that one. And then we are into the painting guides. Painting guides for this magazine are generally excellent as entry-level painting guides. Pretty much goes through the lines of base painting everything and then shading with washes to get things on the table quickly, and then goes back later on and sometimes adds additional details or additional new ways of painting. They've recently done recess shading as a new type of painting technique. So yes, Rakarth flesh on the fabrics and Retributor armor, and so on and so on and so on. Really nice sort of close-up shots of things happening, constantly showing you each stage of the miniature so that you can look at what you're doing, look at what's happening there, and see if it's matching up. It's just very well done painting guides. And of course, they've got a lot of space to flesh these painting guides out, so they really do make the most of the space they have available. That's quite cool. It's showing how to paint the helmeted crest in the white and red stripes. That's nice. A little bit about the buried terrain. Using a Mechanicus Standard Grey because it's a close match to Astro Granite. I will quite often, when I paint miniatures with Astro Granite, I will quite often just put a base of Mechanicus Standard Grey down first before I put the Astro Granite over the top, and that's just so that you don't get any streaky bits where you can see the base through the Astro Granite, through the textured paint. And it also means you don't have to always push the textured paint right up to the miniature, because when you do that, sometimes the lumps will go over the bits you've painted on the miniature, and that can be a bit of a pain. Let's just say that. And then we're on to shading. Agrax Earthshade, Null Oil, and there you go. That's what you've got. Not a finished miniature, still bits and pieces to do on it, but looking very much tabletop ready. Anybody would be proud to have that on their table, I think. Oh, and there's an optional painting guide for if you've chosen to put the bear head on your miniature, which I will not do because I like to have helmets on my characters. And then we have a new mission, Seize the Beacons. We have our layout here. We have network error. Communication across the planet of Corvon 2 has been disrupted by the battles raging across the surface. Barakius holds one of the main communication networks, the Ultramarines and Death Guard race, to control this vital source of intelligence. See inside the back cover for objective markers. Oh, aye. There's some transmitter tokens. Obviously you want to cut those out, mount them on some card or plastic card or something. I hope anybody who subscribes to the premium package for this series gets cardboard counters. I know that in each of the premium packages there are counters, but I don't know whether they're including counters for this sort of thing. But I hope they do, because they deserve it for the amount they pay for that premium package. But anyway, so this is basically a sort of seize the objectives thing. Looks like each turn you randomize one of the nodes to be worth more victory points, or some victory points. Yep, roll 6. All the objective markers are worth an additional victory point. Any other number, it's just that one is worth an additional victory point. Seize it, hold it, score the victory points. Win the game, kill your enemies, praise the Emperor, etc., and so on and so forth. Good stuff. And also worth noting, they're still using the old playmat at the moment. They actually included the new playmat in a previous issue, but we haven't got that far yet. I think from issue 40 they will move on to the new map, because it seems to be the case that they do 20 issues in each environment and then they move on to the next one. Over here we have the Primaris Captain datasheet. Good to see it has all of the weapon options there, so you can have the Mastercrafted Auto Bolt Rifle or the Mastercrafted Stalker Rifle. Good stuff. And obviously plain on the back, so you can rip it out, cut it up, won't ruin any information. Good stuff. And that is that. In fact, here we go, look. Oh, from issue 41, the war for Corvon 2 escalates, and you will begin the battle for Kalon, which involves the new battle mat, new terrain, some other cool stuff. But yeah, so there we go. That is issue 39. Let's have a quick look at what's going on in the back. In issue 40, we are getting layer paints. Liberator Gold, Wild Rider Red, Storm Host Silver. That's quite cool. Hopefully we'll get some new painting techniques to go with those new paints. And then issue 41, this is where it gets really good. Plague Burst Crawler. Awesome. That's pretty exciting. That's a big miniature. It's a big vehicle, and it's split over 2 issues. It's actually split over issue 41 and 42. But even so, even split across the 2 magazines, excellent value to get one of those tanks at that price. Speaking of value, as I always do with these videos, I'm going to put up a running total here. This is basically the price of having subscribed to the magazine, so each issue is $7.99 total price, versus the price of having purchased all of the cover products at retail, so not taking into account online discounts, not taking into account multi-buys or buying starter sets and stealing the miniatures out of those, breaking it with a mate. Anything like that, and also not taking into account the value of the magazine itself and all of the information and additional content that brings as well. It's literally just price for price on the cover products. Hopefully some people will find that useful. But that's it for this issue. Overall, it's a pretty decent magazine, this issue. Fluff, painting guide. Painting guide's pretty much more of the same at the moment, but you know, very in depth, and they're always good. And another new mission to try out with some little tokens to fight over. So plenty going on, and I would say well worth your $7.99 entry fee. But that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave your comments and queries below, and I will hopefully see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.